The final verdict, the Nexus Prime Council chamber, floated in the void between stars, its crystalline walls catching and reflecting the light of distant suns. Inside this massive structure, representatives from 6 major galactic civilizations gathered for what would become the most consequential meeting in galactic history. Dr. Marcus Webb stood in the center of the chamber, his weathered hands clasped behind his back. At 58, he had spent half his life among the stars, first as a terraforming engineer, then as humanity's chief ambassador. His silver hair was neatly trimmed, and his simple grey uniform bore no decorations except for a small blue pin, representing Earth. Around him, the council members sat in their designated areas, each space designed for their unique physiologies. The chamber hummed with translation devices and life support systems, creating a symphony of alien technology. Chancellor Vorthok of the Saurian Empire dominated the central platform. His reptilian form stretched nearly 3 meters tall, covered in emerald scales that shimmered under the chamber's lights. Ancient beyond human comprehension, Vorthok had led the council for over 2 centuries, his yellow eyes fixed on Dr. Webb with the patience of a creditor. To his right, Prime Intellect Zara-9 existed as a pillar of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix. The representative of the synthetic collective spoke through harmonic frequencies that the translators converted into a melodious voice. Her kind had achieved digital immortality thousands of years ago, viewing organic species as interesting but temporary phenomena. Elder Moonwhisper represented the Verdant Alliance, appearing as a massive tree-like being whose bark-covered body pulsed with bioluminescent patterns. Roots extended into specially prepared soil, while branch-like arms swayed gently as if moved by an invisible breeze. The elder species measured time in millennia and considered most decisions too hasty, if made within a single century. The remaining council members included Hivemind Speaker 7 from the collective insectoid swarm nations, Depthwalker from the Aquatic Oceanic Federation, and Void-Touched from the energy beings who dwelt in dark matter clouds. Each represented billions of their kind. Each possessed technology and wisdom far beyond human understanding. Dr. Webb activated his presentation device, and holographic displays filled the air around him. Images of green worlds, bustling space stations, and thriving colonies painted a picture of human achievement across the galaxy. Honored Council, he began, his voice steady despite the weight of the moment. For 200 years, humanity has sought to prove ourselves worthy of full membership in this galactic community. Today, I present the culmination of our efforts. The first series of images showed barren, lifeless worlds transformed into garden paradises. In the past 50 years, we have terraformed 87 dead worlds that other species deemed permanently uninhabitable. Our atmospheric processes and ecological engineering have given life to entire star systems. Chancellor Vorthok's tail twitched, a sign of mild interest. Terraforming is hardly unique to your species, Ambassador. The Saurian Empire has reshaped worlds for millennia. True, Chancellor, Webb replied respectfully. But we have done so at unprecedented speed and efficiency. What once took your empire 3 centuries to accomplish, we achieve in 30 years. Moreover, our methods are completely reversible, leaving no permanent scars on planetary systems. Prime Intellect, Zara-9's energy patterns shifted, creating what humans had learned to interpret as skepticism. Efficiency is admirable, but it often comes at the cost of thoroughness. Your species has a documented tendency toward ... improvisation. Webb nodded calmly. Innovation, Prime Intellect. The same innovation that solved the food crisis on New Macedonia when traditional methods failed. The same innovation that created sustainable fusion reactors using materials found in any star system. The holographic display shifted to show medical facilities across the galaxy. Our doctors have established treatment centers on 400 worlds. Human medical research has extended the average lifespan of 16 different species, including your own synthetic. Collective maintenance protocols. Elder moon whispers, bioluminescent patterns pulsed in a rhythm that indicated deep thought. When the ancient being finally spoke, their voice carried the weight of eons. Growth and healing are ... valuable. Yet your species spreads across the galaxy like wildfire. This expansion troubles the deep roots. Too much, too fast, too ... The elder paused, searching for the right concept. Too hungry. We expand because we dream, elder, Webb replied gently. Every human child looks up at the stars and wonders what lies beyond. But our expansion has always been peaceful. We have never taken a world by force, never displaced another species. Hive Mind Speaker 7's compound eyes reflected the chambers. Lights as it spoke in unison with millions of voices. The swarm acknowledges human ... usefulness. Your trade routes connect distant systems efficiently. Your cargo ships arrive on schedule. Your diplomats resolve conflicts without violence. Yet Depth Walker added, their aquatic form rippling within their environmental tank. Your military buildup cannot be ignored. Human warships patrol increasingly large areas of space. Webb's expression remained neutral. Our ships protect. Trade routes and colonies from pirates and hostile fauna. The same pirates that attack vessels from every species represented here. Our military presence has reduced piracy in the outer rim sectors by 70%. Protection, perhaps, Void-touched, whispered, their form barely visible even with specialized sensors. But power corrupts all species eventually. The capacity for violence grows with capability. The debate continued for hours. Each council member raised concerns about human expansion, unpredictability, and potential for disruption. Webb answered each question with patience and data, but he could see the decision had already been made. The council members weren't debating humanity's merits. They were justifying a predetermined conclusion. Finally, Chancellor Vorthok rose to his full, imposing height. The Council of Six Realms has heard humanity's petition for full membership and voting rights. We acknowledge your species' achievements and contributions to galactic civilization. Webb felt a flicker of hope, quickly suppressed. However, Vorthok continued, his voice carrying the authority of millennia. The Council has concluded that humanity is not yet ready for full membership. Your expansion has been too rapid, your methods too unconventional, your species too young to bear the responsibilities of galactic governance. The chamber fell silent except for the hum of life. Support systems. Webb stood perfectly still, his face betraying no emotion. Prime Intellect, Zaranine's energy patterns shifted to a more formal configuration. Furthermore, the Council has voted to implement new protocols regarding human activities. All future terraforming projects must receive prior Council approval. Human military movements beyond your designated sectors require advance notification. Trade agreements with non-Council species must be reviewed by this body. Elder moon whispers, bioluminescence dimmed to funeral tones. These measures are necessary to ensure stability, to prevent ... disruption. The young roots must be pruned to strengthen the forest. Webb listened to each restriction with the same calm attention he had shown their questions. When they finished, he stood in silence for a long moment. The council members began to shift uncomfortably, unused to such stillness from humans who typically responded immediately to everything. "I see," Webb said finally. His voice carried no anger, no disappointment, no pleading, just ... acceptance. "Humanity thanks the Council for their consideration of our petition. We understand your position and will respect your decision." Something in his tone made Chancellor Vorthok's scales ripple with unease. "You will comply with the new restrictions. We will operate within all applicable laws and treaties," Webb replied carefully. "As we always have." Hive Mind Speaker 7's voices harmonized in confusion. The human shows no protest, no emotional outburst. This behavior pattern is ... unexpected. Webb gathered his materials with unhurried precision. "Respected council members, humanity has always believed that actions speak louder than words. For 2 centuries, we have tried to demonstrate our value through service, innovation, and cooperation. If that approach has been unsuccessful, perhaps it is time to consider alternatives." Before anyone could ask what he meant, Webb bowed formally. "To each council member in turn, thank you for your time and consideration. I wish you all prosperity in your future endeavors." He walked toward the chamber's exit with measured steps, neither hurrying nor lingering. As the doors sealed behind him, the council members sat in uncomfortable silence. "That went better than expected," Vorthok finally rumbled. "I anticipated more ... dramatics." "Too well," Void Touched whispered, their form flickering with uncertainty. "I have observed humans for decades. They are never this calm when truly angry." Prime Intellect, Zaranine's patterns shifted to analytical mode. Statistical analysis of human behavior suggests that extreme emotional control typically precedes significant action. This response pattern requires further study. But Elder Moonwhisper had lived long enough to recognize dangerous silences. "The young tree bends in the storm," they murmured. "But sometimes it bends until it breaks free of the earth entirely." Outside the chamber, Dr. Webb walked calmly to the Human Embassy's communication center. His aide, Captain Sarah Mitchell, looked up from her console as he entered. "How did it go, sir?" she asked, though his expression already told her the answer. Webb sat heavily in his chair, and for the first time that day, his carefully maintained composure cracked slightly. "Send a priority message to Admiral Cross, Sarah. Tell her the Council has made their position perfectly clear." "What should I tell the colonial governors?" Webb stared out the viewport at the stars scattered across the void. Somewhere out there, on hundreds of worlds, millions of humans continued their daily lives, unaware that everything was about to change. "Tell them it's time to come home," he said quietly. All of them. 3 hours later, the first coded messages began transmitting across human communication networks. Simple, innocuous-seeming business communications that triggered protocols prepared months in advance. In research facilities, hospitals, trading posts, and diplomatic missions across the galaxy, humans began making preparations for departure. The exodus had begun, though no one would notice for days. By then, it would be too late to stop what the Council had set in motion with their rejection. They had asked humanity to prove their worth, and now they would discover exactly how much. The galaxy depended on the species they had dismissed so casually. In the depths of space, Admiral Helena Cross received Dr. Webb's message aboard the flagship of humanity's exploration fleet. She read it twice, then activated ship-wide communications. "All ships, this is Admiral Cross. Begin implementation of Protocol Omega. All colonial support missions are hereby terminated. Set course for the Outer Rim. It's time our neighbors learned to stand on their own. As human ships across the galaxy quietly changed course and headed for home, the Council of Six Realms continued their regular business, unaware that they had just triggered the most catastrophic decision in galactic history. They had asked humanity to prove their worth, and now they would discover exactly what the galaxy would look like without them. The consequences unfold. 3 weeks had passed since the Council's decision, and the first cracks in galactic civilization were beginning to show. Captain Thrix of the Saurian merchant vessel Prophet's Edge stared at his navigation console in growing frustration. His ship hung motionless in space at the edge of the Kepler Junction, one of the busiest trade crossroads in the galaxy. Normally, this region buzzed with activity as cargo haulers, passenger liners, and exploration vessels moved between the major trade routes. Today, the space lanes were chaos. Navigation, report, Thrix hissed, his forked tongue tasting the recycled air that carried stress pheromones from his crew. Sir, the automated beacon network is malfunctioning again, reported his navigator, a nervous young Saurian named Vex. The quantum positioning system keeps giving conflicting readings. Without the human maintenance ships recalibrating the network, the margin of error is growing exponentially. Thrix's scales darkened with anger. For 50 years, human ships had maintained the galaxy's navigation infrastructure so efficiently that most species had forgotten how complex the system was. The network of quantum beacons, relay stations, and automated calibration systems required constant adjustment to account for stellar drift, gravitational anomalies, and subspace fluctuations. Can we navigate manually? Thrix asked, though he already knew the answer. Through the Kepler Junction. Sir, there are 17 different gravity wells, 3 unstable wormholes, and a dark matter cloud that shifts position hourly. The human pilots could navigate this in their sleep, but we... Vex's voice trailed off. But we never bothered to learn, Thrix finished bitterly, because they were always there to handle it. His communication officer looked up from her station. Sir, I'm receiving distress calls from 12 other vessels in the same situation. The Crystalline Dream reports they've been waiting for navigation clearance for 6 days. Thrix drummed his claws against his command chair. Contact the Junction Authority. Surely they have backup navigation protocols. 20 minutes later, the response came back. Captain, the Junction Authority says their human staff handled all complex navigation calculations. The remaining personnel are learning the procedures. On the other side of the galaxy, Dr. Kemal Singh packed the last of his research equipment into storage containers aboard the science station Deep Understanding. The 50-year-old astrophysicist had spent 15 years studying exotic particle interactions at the edge of known space, working alongside researchers from 6 different species. His research partner, a crystalline being called Resonance Prime, watched the packing process with confusion radiating from their geometric form. Dr. Singh, I do not comprehend this departure. Resonance Prime transmitted through the station's computer systems. Our work on dark matter manipulation was approaching a breakthrough. The implications for faster-than-light travel could revolutionize galactic transportation. Singh smiled sadly as he sealed another container. I know, my friend, but my government has recalled all personnel from joint research projects. Orders are orders. But why now? What has changed? Singh paused in his packing. He had grown fond of Resonance Prime over the years. The being's curiosity and dedication to pure science reminded him of his younger self. The Council of Six Realms made their position clear. Humanity is not welcome as an equal partner in galactic affairs, so we are no longer partners at all. This is illogical. Resonance Prime's facets flashed with agitation. Humans constitute only 12% of galactic population, but contribute 37% of all published research. Your species asks questions others do not think to ask. We ask too many questions, according to some, Singh replied, hefting another container. We move too fast, change too much, disrupt too many established patterns. He gestured around the laboratory, where half-finished experiments and abandoned equipment told the story of interrupted discovery. Do you know what our next project was going to be? The temporal distortion measurements in Sector 47. Artificial gravity generation without massive objects, Singh corrected. Ships that could create their own gravitational fields, making faster-than-light travel as simple as falling downhill. But that research dies here, today. Resonance Prime's form dimmed as the implications sank in. The Council. They did not consider the consequences of their decision. Oh, they considered them, Singh said, shouldering his personal bag. They just didn't understand them. As he walked toward the departure bay, Singh passed laboratories and workshops that had fallen silent. The quantum mechanics team had disbanded when their human theoretical physicists departed. The exotic materials lab had shut down after losing access to human industrial processes. Even the cafeteria had closed because the human nutritionists were the only ones who understood how to create food safe for all species. 3 days later, the first medical crisis struck. Dr. Patricia Okafor, the chief medical officer of the orbital hospital above New Ceres, transmitted her final reports to the Galactic Health Authority as her replacement transport arrived. The sleek human medical ship Mercy's Light docked with mechanical precision, its cargo holds filled with specialized equipment and supplies that could not be found elsewhere in the galaxy. Administrator Shelsong of the Aquatic Oceanic Federation met her at the airlock, their environmental suit glistening with condensed moisture. Dr. Okafor, surely this departure is premature. Shelsong's translated voice carried notes of desperation. The plague outbreak on Kepler 442b requires immediate attention. Without human medical intervention, we estimate 40,000 casualties in the next month. Patricia had seen this coming for weeks, as human medical teams across the galaxy received their recall orders. Alien health officials suddenly realized how dependent they had become on human expertise. I've transmitted all relevant data to your medical teams, Patricia replied professionally. Treatment protocols, medication formulas, surgical procedures. Everything is documented, but documentation is not experience. Shelsong's suit bubbled with agitation. Human doctors have developed techniques for treating diseases that affect multiple species simultaneously. Our physicians specialize in single-species medicine. Patricia nodded grimly. That's because, for the past century, humans have been the ones treating everyone. We learned to work with Saurian physiology, synthetic energy patterns, Oceanic Federation biochemistry, and a dozen other biological systems, because someone had to bridge the gap between species. She gestured toward the medical bay, where alien patients floated in specialized treatment pods designed by human engineers and maintained by human technicians. Do you know why this hospital has a 97% treatment success rate? Remained silent. Because humans designed it to work with everyone, not just one species. We created universal treatment protocols, developed medications that work across biological boundaries, and trained medical staff to handle any patient who walked through our doors. Then stay, Shelsong burst out. The Oceanic Federation will provide funding, protection, whatever you need. Patricia's expression softened. It's not about funding or protection. It's about respect. The Council made their decision, and humanity has made ours in response. As the Mercy's light undocked from the hospital, its cargo holds now filled with irreplaceable medical equipment, Shelsong watched from the observation deck. Within hours, treatment delays began mounting. Patients requiring specialized care were placed on waiting lists as alien medical staff struggled to learn procedures they had never needed to master. The agricultural crisis came next. Governor Marcus Stone stood in the command center of the human agricultural station above Verdania Prime, watching as the last transport ships loaded the final shipments of food processors, atmospheric scrubbers, and soil treatment systems. Through the viewports, he could see the green countenance of the planet below, their vast farms and food production facilities suddenly facing an uncertain future. Elder, root system of the Verdant Alliance, materialized in the command center as a holographic projection, their ancient form trembling with distress. Governor Stone, this departure will cause catastrophic famine across 12 star systems. Root systems' bioluminescent patterns flashed in distress patterns. Human agricultural techniques feed 3 billion beings across Alliance space. Stone had expected this conversation. Elder, we've provided complete technical documentation for all our farming methods. Your people should be able to maintain production levels. Should be, root system repeated bitterly. But human agriculture works. With the living soil, creates harmony between plant and environment. Our people know the old ways of growing food, but not the human ways that produce 10 times the yield in half the time. Stone pulled up holographic displays showing agricultural output across Alliance space. These systems have been running automatically. For decades, Elder, your people just need to follow the maintenance protocols. Protocols written by humans, for humans, Root System replied. The thinking is different. The approach is alien to us. When problems arise, we do not know how to improvise solutions as your people do. As if summoned by their conversation, Stone's communications officer approached with a grim expression. Sir, we're receiving reports from agricultural stations. Across Alliance space, crop yields are dropping rapidly without human oversight. The automated systems are failing in ways not covered by standard protocols. Stone sighed heavily. What kinds of failures? Soil chemistry imbalances, unexpected pest outbreaks, climate control malfunctions, irrigation system breakdowns. Apparently, human agricultural specialists were handling dozens of small adjustments daily that kept the entire system stable. Elder Root System's form flickered with despair. Without these adjustments, how long before total agricultural collapse? The communications officer consulted his reports. Current estimates suggest severe food shortages within 2 months, complete system failure within 6. As the last human transport departed Verdania Prime's orbital facilities, Elder Root System transmitted emergency communications to the Council of 6 Realms. Similar messages flooded in from across the galaxy as the true scope of the crisis became apparent. Back on Nexus Prime, Chancellor Vorthok paced his private chambers, his massive claws leaving scratches in the crystal flooring. The emergency council session had lasted 18 hours, with reports of cascading failures pouring in from every corner of galactic civilization. Prime intellect, Zaranine materialized as a hologram, their energy patterns fluctuating with what Org would call anxiety. Chancellor, statistical analysis indicates complete galactic infrastructure collapse within 90 days if current trends continue. Impossible, Vorthok snarled. Humans are 12% of the galactic population. 1. Species cannot be responsible for maintaining entire civilization. Not maintaining, Zaranine corrected. Connecting. Humans served as the universal interface between species. They learned everyone's languages, adapted to everyone's biology, solved everyone's problems. They were the invisible network that held everything together. Depth Walker's aquatic form rippled within their tank. The ocean currents that seem gentle to us can carve canyons over time. Humans were our currents, constant, reliable, unnoticed until they stopped flowing. Emergency reports continued arriving. Trade routes collapsed without human navigation services. Medical facilities shut down without human expertise. Research projects ground to a halt without human innovation. Food production plummeted without human agricultural knowledge. Void touched, flickered into view, their energy signature dim with regret. We asked them to prove their worth. They are doing so by showing us what the galaxy looks like without them. Hive Mind Speaker 7's voices harmonized in unprecedented discord. The swarm's economic projections indicate total commercial collapse within 45 days. Human logistics networks handled 73% of interspecies trade coordination. Elder Moon Whispers, ancient form creaked as they leaned forward. The young tree we sought to prune. We have cut away the root system instead. The forest dies. Asterisk Chancellor Vorthak's pride warred with growing desperation. Contact Ambassador Webb. Inform him that the Council wishes to reconsider certain aspects of our previous decision. The response came back within hours, transmitted through official diplomatic channels with perfect politeness and devastating finality. The Council of Six Realms' previous communications indicated that humanity was not ready for the responsibilities of galactic governance. We have taken this assessment to heart and are focusing our efforts on areas where we can be more effective. All human personnel have been recalled from joint projects and cooperative ventures to concentrate on internal development. We thank the Council for their guidance and wish all member species prosperity in their independent endeavors. The message was signed by Admiral Helena Cross, acting as humanity's chief diplomatic representative. Dr. Webb's name was notably absent. Asterisk. Vorthok read the message 3 times, his scales shifting through colors that indicated rage, fear, and finally, understanding. "They're not coming back," he said quietly. "Not unless we acknowledge what we should have seen from the beginning," Elder Moonwhisper replied with ancient wisdom. "That strength is not measured in age or power alone, but in how much others depend on you when you are gone." As galactic civilization teetered on the edge of collapse, the Council of Six Realms faced a choice: swallow their pride and beg humanity's return, or watch everything they had built crumble without the species they had deemed unworthy of equal partnership. In the depths of human space, millions of recalled colonists, researchers, doctors, and engineers settled into new homes on worlds the galaxy had dismissed as worthless. But humans had a gift for making the worthless valuable, the impossible possible, and the unwanted indispensable. They had 3 centuries of galactic knowledge, the finest technology from dozens of species, and most importantly, the hard-earned wisdom that respect could not be begged for or demanded, only demonstrated. The galaxy would learn this lesson too, in time. But first, It would have to survive without them.